The brand new Bambu Lab H2D is not just a 3D printer, it is also a cutter, it's also a plotter, and it is a laser. But in the past, when companies have tried to do too many things at once, they don't tend to do any of them particularly well. So has Bambu been able to crack that code? Let's find out. So stick around. I've already done quite a bit of testing on the Bambu Lab H2D as far as the 3D printing goes, and this is a very capable 3D printer with lots of advanced features. It does work really well, and I've been using it quite a bit. And I have some videos on that subject already. If you want to check them out, they will be linked up above there in the top corner. The AMSs are also new. They have the AMS 2 Pro and they have the AMS High Temperature. They also have improved on the previous generation. So we don't need to focus on 3D printing in this video. I already have those videos out, but I do want to focus on these. These are the laser modules, the 40 watt and the 10 watt laser module. There is also this, a cutter module and a plotter module. These definitely are going to be the most useful for me at least, but we will try these ones out just to see how they work. The laser system also comes with this tray, and it also comes with these serrated rails, which provide support for these platforms for our material. Bambu is really good at accounting for a lot of little details that other companies just don't bother with. For example, on this tray, when I go to snap these rails into place, there's a little rubber bumper on the inside there that holds this in place and prevents it from wobbling around. If you have experience with other lasers, you'll know that these move around a lot, and sometimes they move so much that they actually fall out. That is not the case here. These laser cut wafered platforms provide a lot of support for material, much more than the traditional style. And they also happen to fall into place and interlock completely in both directions so they don't move around. We don't necessarily need to use these. We could put the material directly on here if it is a large enough piece. You can even take these off if you're looking for a little bit more clearance in the height. These pieces really perform the best when we're cutting directly through, and that means that the air can go through, all of the fumes can go through, and also any debris can come in and get captured in this tray. They also provide these little guys. These are magnetic hold downs, so if you're cutting something really small, you can put these on here and push them right up against the piece. And if there's any vibration or movement, these will prevent your piece from moving and screwing up your final product. And they also have 4 of these pins as well, which are a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger than these small ones. And for the cutting module, we have this cutting mat. And on this side, we have a strong grip. And on this side, we have a light grip option. Lasers are actually dangerous. Both the action of laser cutting or laser engraving is dangerous because it can start a fire, but there's another aspect to it, and that is the generation of fumes. It's just not great from a long-term health standpoint, but also when it comes to the company, when they don't focus on the health aspect or the safety aspect of their machines, they're affecting the health of their customers. And their customers might not be as likely to come back and purchase another product. So Bambu has actually spent quite a bit of time focusing on the safety aspect of their machine. And to show you what I mean, I need to get the laser installed with the supply hose for the air. There is a little lever on this side, so we make sure that's open. There's a dovetail slot, lock down the lever, and here at the top we need to connect this. We should see this light up, and then we need to connect the hose. Hose connects into the top of the laser and then gets fed through the cable chain and then plugged right in to this connector at the back. We need to install our tray. So if I put the lever back up and then I take this off, it should come up with a warning message. Please slide the laser back on. So I will do that. Lock it back down. If I unplug it, it should tell me on the screen that I've unplugged it. Oh, there it is there. Please plug in the module. I will say it'd be nice to have a connector that's not rectangular. It is very easy to get mixed up, so I've marked the F on there. That's facing me, or front. Okay, so this is all ready to go. I just need to go to the calibration. This is the safety glass that's installed here. It is specifically for this version of the printer. The standard version does not come with this, so you'd have to swap them out if you wanted to upgrade your printer. Also, embedded in the door, there is a safety mechanism. If the laser is going and the door gets opened by accident or on purpose, the laser will turn off. There is also a switch here, emergency stop. If things go bad for whatever reason, you can hit the emergency stop button. And when we switch over to the laser, we can see here that there is a fire safety option, and it recognizes the different temperatures in several zones. Also, you can see where the sensors are located for fire detection, so in the top corners and also on the bottom of the laser head. This is the buzzer. And you can also set to push notifications to your phone as well if there's a problem, but I highly recommend that you just use the laser when you're at the machine, and you can't even start it without holding this button down for a second anyway. This printer will actually seal itself off almost completely. There's a little opening in the back here where the nozzle wiping system would be, but it will try and seal everything off if there is a flame that's detected. There is an optional fume extractor that you can hook up to your machine, so it's just operated with this dial. We'll plug this in just a second, and it connects with a flexible hose. I do highly recommend that you vent outside directly, but if you don't have an option, you can get something like this, which is a fume extractor. Bambu offers this one here. It's operated with this dial. So if I turn it on at the back, it is quite powerful. This is on low. You can turn it all the way up. It's a little bit loud, but fairly powerful as well. Lots of airflow there. When you turn it all the way off, it does not seem to turn off completely from this dial at least. You have to turn it off from the back, but it is on quite low. I do appreciate them giving me this little wing connector rather than have to get in here with a screwdriver. Ugh. Tight. I know it wouldn't work for everybody, but it'd be nice to have an adapter that attaches to the back there. It comes around the side here, and we can have an easy access to the adapter to connect the hose and disconnect the hose when we want to. Just like their ecosystem for filament, they also have these materials. This is 3mm cork. They have different colors of acrylic. This is sapele mahogany. You can see it has the barcode on there. It will be able to identify this material when it is actually placed in the machine. This is walnut, bamboo, birch, and then basswood. And these plywoods are balanced, and they have fairly thick veneer on them as well, which is kind of nice if you need to sand them. These lasers actually cut and engrave with a 455 nanometer wavelength of light, which is blue light. But you can see it's actually saying that there are two wavelengths. The second wavelength I originally thought was for engraving metal. It's not. It's actually for the depth or distance sensing. This is the 10-watt laser, and it is able to engrave 310 millimeters in width by 270 millimeters in the depth. If we look at the bigger one, it's a little bit deeper and mounted further forward, so we lose an additional 20 millimeters, so it's 310 wide by 250 deep. In this particular case, the door needs to be completely closed for you to be able to operate the laser. There's no way to actually put longer material in here. So I will start with the cork, and it says it is a flammable material, so it has the potential to catch fire. So we can load this in. Now there is no barcode on this. And so it'll come up with a warning saying the material is flammable. For safety, do not leave the machine. Confirm that. And what I have here is a cut around the outside, and then inside here is an engraving. You cannot just send to the machine and everything starts automatically. You have to be at the machine, and you have to hold down this button for a second. And it's very nice that they have the display here that actually shows you what's going on, so you don't necessarily have to look through here, and also it's just a lot easier to see. It still uses the live view camera just like what you'd see on a 3D print. A lot of the new lasers actually have this light bar here where it progresses, so at a distance you can easily see how close it is to being finished. You can also tell from here, and you can tell from here too. And there's another nice little safety feature telling you how long you should let it sit before you open the door. And there we have it. Looks pretty good. So the original one was a little bit too small. What I'm going to do is go back and change the size a little bit. And if I say capture image, I'll know exactly where the original is. And then we can make sure that we avoid it. And we'll let this one finish. Turned out really nice, a little bit larger than the first one for bigger cups. And the Leafs are playing the Panthers right now, so I did a coaster for the Panthers. I really like this version of the logo, and it turned out pretty nice as well. So now I'd like to try the acrylic, and I'd like to try the plywood as well. And you can see here that it detected the new material automatically, so we're going to switch over to that one. So you can see here it has a neat feature where it tells you that you need to come back to the machine and check on it. And you can press this in advance and it'll reset just so that it doesn't stop. For the shiny black acrylic, the Florida Panthers logo turned out pretty good. The Toronto Maple Leafs not so much, and since this one turned out well and this one didn't, I decided to go back to the image itself and make an adjustment to the contrast, and I ended up with this one here, and it turned out pretty good. No matter what depth you have, if you're using a shiny black acrylic, it ends up getting this matte finish, and it's tough to differentiate. You can kind of see it at a bit of an angle there. So this probably needs a little bit more tweaking to get a bit more depth in some of the areas, but you know, for a first try, it's not too bad. And this is the finished scale model of an Adirondack chair that I'm designing. I'll be building multiple of these from cherry wood. This is actually the backer that it cut. You can see there. So the light went directly through the material and interacted with the backer only. Nothing, I don't feel anything at all on the surface. So this is not a surprise. It does not work with clear acrylic. You do need a particular type of laser. A CO2 laser works best for clear acrylic. So the clear acrylic didn't work so well, but this is stainless steel, and you can actually mark stainless steel with this laser. That's something I did not expect. This is something that Bambu sells on Maker World, these little tags. So I'm going to put that on there. And then these are actually laser cut stainless steel discs. I'm going to put those on there as well. So the stainless steel turned out really nice. I've also done this in mild steel, DeWalt logo, and also the Makita logo. Both are really crisp. Now this isn't really engraving as much as it is marking, because this is a discoloration or an oxide layer that's created on the surface here. So you can really barely feel it on the surface, but it does do a great job of giving lots of contrast. And like I said, it's nice and crisp. With a part like this, you have to be extremely careful, and I am talking from experience because I just about ruined this machine with this part. So let me show you what I did wrong so you know what to avoid. This part has a gigantic hole in it, and because of that, when I pressed the button to automatically measure, it thought that it should measure where the hole was. It went down and down and down and actually hit up against the part. Luckily, it did seem to know what was happening and it stopped the machine at that point. So if you have a part with a hole in the center that at least has a little bit of thickness to it, like this does, then you need to either measure it manually or you measure it by specifying where you want it to take the measurement from. So when we engrave aluminum, this is plain aluminum, you can see, but it's very, very low contrast. You can barely even feel it. It doesn't feel like there's any depth to it at all. So more or less it looks like it's just cleaning the surface. And let's see if we can get anything from the anodized aluminum. So this color of anodization does not seem to be impacted at all. It looks like maybe you need something that's black or a darker color. It is completely unaffected. So I'm a bit surprised by that actually. And now we can switch over to the cutter instead. Give that one a try. And there's just the smallest little cutter at the end there, and this is also spring-loaded. See right there, this very, very tiny sharp point. There's a spring in here, and there's also a magnet to keep it in place too. So let's peel this off and we'll see which ones went all the way through. So this one looks like it had the perfect settings. I'm going to adjust those settings in Bambu Suite. I think you should be able to see that on camera. And lastly, I wanted to try the drawing module. So this little pin here fits up inside just the same way that the cutter does. And now I just have some 8.5 by 11 printer paper. With the drawing module, we can't just reproduce an image exactly. It doesn't work that way. What we need is outside lines. So in Bambu Suite, we can take any image we want and use the tracing feature, and that will convert it to those outside lines, and that should be able to reproduce the image that we want. So you can see that this curled up quite a bit, but I did find the best way to get anything off is just to use a regular scraper blade. So there's a bit of novelty to this. It is pretty cool, but I don't really think the best use case for this is on printer paper. You can just print it on a printer. On cardstock, something that would be very difficult to put through a regular printer is much more useful. But I have to admit, this really isn't my area of expertise, so you guys probably have a lot better ideas than I do of how to use this feature. So our original question was, is this machine actually good at each of these individual tasks? So if we take a look at the laser from a safety standpoint, which is a big issue when it comes to a laser, bigger than most companies probably want you to think. Yes, they have done an excellent job. In fact, they've done better than most of the companies that are out there. They're probably on par or even slightly better than the top one, which I think is X-Tool. They have automatic ventilation that's accounted for. They have a pause to make sure that you wait. You have to press the button on the top. I've pretty much shown most of it. And they're also going to be releasing an extinguishing system soon, which uses carbon dioxide. And that means that with the closed chamber, it's also going to inject carbon dioxide, which will help to put out the fire even quicker if there happens to be one detected. I've tested both the 10 watt and the 40 watt lasers. I would highly recommend, if you're going to get this machine and get the laser, that you just go with the 40 watt. It's going to give you a lot better options. So overall, it is actually a really good laser. The biggest limiting factor when it comes to this laser is really just the size. So you have to be aware of that before you get this machine if you wanted to buy the laser module, because 310 by 250 for larger or 310 by 270 for the smaller laser. When it comes to the cutter module, this module is actually more useful than I expected it to be. I didn't really have any great ideas of where to use it, but for decals, it's actually really, really useful. As you can see, I've already used it a couple times. Now, when it comes to the drawing module, I think I'm a little bit on the fence with that one. It's not that it doesn't work well, it does work really well. And I think maybe you could put a pen in there, or you could put pencil or whatever you want, really. You just need a little sleeve to make sure that it fits up inside there. The issue is that I don't see personally a lot of good uses for it, but I will have to rely on you guys to let me know whether I'm right or wrong about that one. It's super quick to switch back and forth between them. It can be for the laser, maybe up to a minute or so. And then for the other modules, it can be 20, 30 seconds. So it is really, really small amount of time. Now, if you're going to be using it as a laser often, that means you're going to be generating a lot of residue on the inside. So you will need to clean the machine more often, specifically the lead screws and also any of the rods. So overall, I think it's a pretty impressive machine. I think Bambu did an excellent job in trying to integrate all of these different things into one machine that can do them all really well. Now, is it perfect? No, it's a little bit on the small side probably for some of these tasks. If it had the ability to pass the material through, like this long piece of wood, it would probably be a lot more useful. But I understand why they weren't able to do that when it comes to trying to make a machine that is as absolutely safe as possible, especially if you want to keep that unit completely sealed. Hopefully I showed enough in this video for you to be able to make an educated decision for yourself. If you'd like to help support the channel, I have a very short list of affiliate links down there in the description below. And thank you to my patrons for helping to support this channel and making videos like this possible. And thank you for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you on the next one.